Hello and welcome to this live demonstration on how to get the Helldivers 2 mod manager not only up and running and pointed at the correct directories, but also how to install a few different types of mods, such as an armor mod, a weapon mod, an audio mod, and even a mod that has multiple variants inside of it, and how we can customize that mod and get it ready to go. There will be timestamps in the description, as well as links to the various mods that we're going to be downloading. You are going to be utilizing nexusmods.com to be able to get these items, and you may need to have a Nexus Mods account. But don't quote me on that, because I don't know for sure if you need one or not. It's been a long time since I've used Nexus without an account, so the accounts are free. That's all you need to know. Anyway, this is live. Mistakes will probably happen, but I feel this is the best way to explain how to install the mods. So if you need to skip to a specific part, again, those timestamps are down below. A few things to go over before we begin. Your mileage may vary because the systems that we're using are going to be different. So for example, I'm using Windows 11, you may be using Windows 10, or another type of operating system such as Linux. I don't even know if the mod is supported on those systems other than Windows 10. And probably not even on Mac, right? So things are different depending on the operating system. The hardware that I'm using is an NVIDIA graphics card and an AMD CPU. Things may change if you're using Intel CPU, AMD GPU, so just keep that in mind. And if you have any issues, I'll show you where to go to be able to put in your queries and inquire about how to actually get those fixed. So without further ado, let's go ahead. We're going to jump into nexusmods.com and go ahead and click the link to get you to HD2 Mod Manager. I'd like to thank teutinsa for uploading this and creating this mod manager. Please endorse them if the mod manager proves to be helpful to you. This is the best way to install mods for Helldivers 2, and I would not recommend installing mods manually unless you're just installing, say, a singular mod. We're going to scroll down here and you'll see this posts section. If you're having any issues after installing the mod manager or the mod manager isn't functioning, please go ahead and put in a comment here, or even just show your support and say thank you very much for releasing this mod, because these things take a lot of time to make, I'm sure. They spend a lot of their free time to be able to create these mods, and it's not just one person trying to make bank off of this. This is a lot of people just having a passion and creating something and sharing it with the world. Keep in mind that not every mod's going to work with this mod manager, and understand that it's not the obligation of the mod author to make their mods work with the mod manager. It's up to us to be able to understand how we can get their mods to work with it. Okay, so we're going to go into files here, and your first option here is version 1040. Now, you may think that you want to download this version, but unfortunately, as of today, which is November 8th, 2024, this version of the mod does not work. You'll download it, and the exe will do nothing. Something might have happened with a trigger or something in the code. Nothing's hooking in, so it's just not functioning correctly. So what we'll do is we'll download the previous version. If you keep scrolling down all the way to the bottom, you should see version 1030. This is what I've been using, and it's been able to install all the mods that I've wanted to install so far. Does it work with every mod? Again, I don't know. Your mileage may vary. We're going to click the chevron on the right and simply download the mod. Ignoring the past failed attempt at recording this video, we'll open the folder. And we're just going to hit Control X, or you can right click on Windows 11 and show more options and click copy or cut. I like to press cut. And we are going to go into, for me, I'm going to go into my G drive. You can go into your C drive, which is the default drive for your machine. I'm going to go into my G drive, and I created a folder called Temp Mods, as I already have a mods folder here that is for my actual installation of Helldivers 2. But for this demonstration, just understand I've put it in my G drive in Temp Mods. You might put it in your C drive and create a new folder called Mods. So it's completely up to you how you want to structure this. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and paste this file in here. If you can't see the .zip, by the way, in Windows 11, if you click View, we can go into Show and show file name extensions. This is very useful in understanding what type of file you're looking at, and really nice when you're modding your games. Now, one great feature is, I think Windows 10 also has this. We can simply just click Extract All, or right-click the file and click Extract All, or go to Show More Options and click Extract All. Whatever option you decide, you can extract all the contents here. So we're going to use that. This is the Windows feature to do so. You can use 7-zip or WinRAR, whatever you prefer for unzipping the file. But you'll find with mods that zipping and unzipping is the most common thing you're going to be doing. So you may want to get yourself something like 7-zip because it's pretty handy. Regardless, though, we can drop this in here. I'm just deleting everything so it will actually create extract all the files into temp mods, and we'll be good to go. So actually we'll / there and extract. There we go. Perfect. That was a / whatever, don't worry about it. Anyway, as you can see here, we still have our zip file. This is just the remnants of the zip file, but all the files that we just had have been extracted and placed into this temp mods folder, which is great. So now we are going to be able to utilize the mod. The nice thing about the mod manager is it just works. You don't actually have to install it. It just runs. It hooks into these other DLL files, and after a moment, it'll launch. And as you can see here, we have our freshly installed mod manager. Now, if you've put any reshades in here, if you're familiar with that, into Helldivers 2, it will actually automatically detect you have a reshade set up in Helldivers 2. So if you see your hidden capes mod or something along those lines, it'll have an option there to say if you want to install it or not, although it's already installed if you've put it into the directory. But don't worry about that. I digress. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get to this mod manager set up. It's not too difficult, but you do need to run through this the first time through. As you can see, we put our mod folder in the G drive, but for some reason it's going straight to the C drive. Well, that's a bit of a pain, and we have no game in the game directory. That's a bit weird. So what we're going to do here is we're going to hit the ... and this is going to load up a selection screen. So we're going to need to find Helldivers 2. If you're really unsure where your Helldivers 2 is installed, you can go into Properties ... on Steam and go to your installed files, and you'll see here it's on my G drive, and you can even hit Browse and see it right there. You can even click here and copy paste this in if you'd like, but I just want to showcase that's how you find your folder. And don't worry, that's pretty much the extent of the difficulties, so don't worry too much. So we'll just find it manually here. I'll just go into my G drive, find my Steam library, Steam apps, common, and then we'll just find Halo Wars. We'll find Helldivers 2, and that's it. If you see bin, data, and tools, you found your folder, you're in Helldivers 2, you're good to go. As you can see, I'm installing this on my G drive. Your Helldivers might be on a different drive, so double check where it's installed if you have multiple drives, and select that folder by clicking Select Folder. But we're not done yet. No, sir. We're going to also set up a couple more folders here, and this is how you keep yourself organized, is we're going to go ahead and make 2 new folders. As you can see, there's a storage directory and a temporary directory. Now, technically this would work from this point forward, but I like to put my folders and my files outside of the install of Windows. My C drive is almost primarily just an install of Windows and Adobe products, so that's about it. So we're just going to go ahead and make a couple new folders. The first folder we're going to make is storage, and the second folder we're going to create is temp, or temporary. And we're going to go back into our mod manager. We're going to select storage directory, the 3 dots, and we're going to get back into the temp mods, and we're going to select storage here. And it'll say storage directory has changed. The application needs to be restarted. So we're just going to say, okay, we don't need to restart it just yet because we're going to also change our temporary directory. And we'll go back there to temp mods and we will select temp. There we go. So now we've actually created our two folders, our storage directory. This is where the mods will be managed, so they can be installed, uninstalled quickly, and the temporary directory, which is where all of your uncompressed files will go. So if you really want to customize these things, you can, as we've shown here. I recommend it. Just keep all your files in a place that you know where they're going to be, as opposed to in your, your app data or your documents, or who knows where it was going to go originally. We'll say okay. And as you can see, it closed down and rebooted back up. Well, actually, it didn't reboot back up, but now it's good to go to be rebooted. And there you go. We're good to go. So there's a few other things here I just want to show off. You have your add button. I'll show that once we download a few mods. This is how you add your mods. Funny that. Browse, create, and report bugs. I use none of these. I just use add, and that's all you need to know. And then you can deploy your mods. You can get rid of the current mods that are installed, but leave them checkmarked. You'll see about that in a moment. And you can even run your game. And if I hit this button now, it would actually launch the exe for Helldivers 2. We're not going to do that just yet because we're going to install some mods. And actually, we're going to grab one new folder, and we're going to call this Downloads. This is going to be where we put all of our mods that we're going to download. So now I'm going to demonstrate how to install a mod. The first mod that we are going to install is the SEAF Ranger. This makes your character look like a modern warfare character. Why not, right? There's many other mods that are very cool as well. This is just one of them. We'll go into Files, and we'll manually download the mod. Once the mod has been downloaded, you know the drill. We go into our Downloads folder, and we're going to go ahead and paste this into our Downloads folder. All right, so remember that Add button? We're going to hit Add. Now that we've selected Add, we'll get back into our Temp Mods folder that we made earlier. And let's go into Downloads, because that's where we downloaded the file. So one thing I want to show off before we actually install this, I'm just going to, first we can double click this or left click and hit Open. This will select it and it'll add the mod to the list. And as you can see here, it's good to go and says locally imported. But one thing I want to point out is what's actually in these files. So if we double click it here, we can see, okay, so there's a folder in here. And then inside of that folder that says SEAF Ranger, there's all these patch files, right? We have patch 0, GPU resources, and 0.stream, right? So these things here are why the mod manager is so great, because you'll start to notice every mod looks almost identical to this. And manually installing these mods can become extremely problematic. So when you have the mod manager, it nicely wraps everything up in a bow and ensures that they all work and play nice together. It's not going to work with 100% of the mods. If you downloaded every single mod on the network or mods that do the exact same thing, yeah, you're going to run into some conflicts. But if the mods are nicely tied together and they do different things and they're not trying to replace the same piece of armor or the same piece of audio, they tend to work relatively nice together. So this is the nice thing about the mod manager that allows us to be able to use these functions. So let's go ahead and test it. We have the SEAF Ranger armor. This replaces the default armor in the game. So we're going to hit deploy, and this has now deployed it to our game. If we don't want this mod installed, we can hit purge, and there's no notification or anything. As you can see, I'm hitting purge. No notifications, right? There you go. That's how you know that you don't even know, but it's gone. It's been removed from the game. We're going to hit deploy again because we want the deployment to be working. And we're going to go ahead and hit run. Just see if that works. See if it hooks into our exe file. Oh, there we go. We have something loading there. And we're going to see the full screen in a moment. I have game capture set up for the actual game. We're using a nice tiny square for the recording, so you can kind of see things a little bit easier on the screen. But this is kind of the rundown of how to utilize this mod manager. It's a really handy and simple to use. The user experience is quite good. All right, there we go. We're getting loaded up in. Again, live demonstration. Feels good, right? And there we go. So we have the armor ready to go. Excellent. Great. Yep. So the armor is good to go. And we can hit As you can see, the Diligence is not modded yet, so we're going to showcase how to modify that Diligence. So we've modified armor in the game. Now we can hit Purge. I'm just going to showcase this as well. So we've now hit Purge, and now we're reopening the game. We've closed out of the game, we hit Purge, we're reopening the game. I just want to show that this now has been pulled from the game, and the game should not have the mod installed. I know this could take a moment for it to load back up, but trust me, it's better that it's just a nice step-by-step walkthrough. I prefer it this way. And also, I only have so much time in the day. I can't really edit these things together. You kidding me? All right. All right, now we get a like really cool intro. Hey, look at that! Look, the mod's not there. Oh, what the hell? Because I didn't install it. See that exactly. That's perfect, right? So you just unplug it just like that. By the way, the ReShade is what's removing the capes, and I can show you how to install that as well. Okay, so next we're just going to showcase a couple more things. So we've now demonstrated actually installing the armor mod. I will now demonstrate how to install a weapon mod. You'll be surprised to find out it's basically the same thing, but the nice thing is some of these mods have multiple selections. So, for example, we have the AR-10 mod, which is so nice, and happens to use the same armor that we were just showcasing. Isn't that crazy? So nice. And we have options here. AR-10 black suppressor, AR-10 green suppressor, no suppressor, suppressed, right? So we have options. One is for the counter sniper, one is for the Diligence. So you kind of have to use common sense, of course, and download the versions that you want. So I believe I'm just using the regular Diligence, but don't quote me on that. Can't remember. I'm going to download the one with, let's do the one with the no suppressor. So we'll manually download it, and we'll go ahead and we'll open our folder. We will copy the folder over and jump on into our temp mods, our downloads, throw it in here, leave it zipped. So you can double check to make sure that the file's inside. And notice this one didn't have an extra folder. The mod manager is smart enough to look into the directories and see where these patch files are, because it's clearly looking for where the patch files are. This is how smart this coding is. So if we go in here, we can go ahead and click add, and we'll select the AR-10 no suppressor. And you see the little check mark there? If I check mark this and I actually leave SEAF Ranger unchecked, I'm going to deploy these mods, and we should see that SEAF Ranger will not be installed, but the AR-10 will be installed. So let's go ahead and hit run. And in theory, we're going to see that now we have the Diligence that has been modded out and changed over. That'll be very obviously apparent to us, and we'll have the SEAF Ranger outfit be not installed, even though we hit deploy, but it was unchecked. So that's the goal here. And there you go. So we don't have the SEAF Ranger currently on, but there is a Diligence. Diligence has been upgraded to the unsuppressed. Upgraded. Changed out. Again, these don't change any stats or anything in the game, by the way. This is just purely cosmetic. But that is the overview there. So that is perfect. Okay, I want to now move on to audio mods. And audio mods have... Ignore the crash. Audio mods have an interesting quirk to them. And this is very important that you kind of pay attention to this part, because audio mods tend to bump into each other more often than not. I've seen mod authors mention that if you change music in the game and another mod changes the sound of a gun, then those two might conflict. For some reason, the way that the game works, the way that the game does its coding, you may run into those strange issues. Now, mods that change a specific voice set, those kind of play nicely because they're only specific to that voice. So voice 4 on the English version, or voice 4 on the Japanese version, or voice 1 on the German version, right? So pay attention to what voices should be in the game for these voice mods. In this case, it's going to be English Voice 4, and you should be okay. The mods authors are typically good about reporting if their mod might conflict with other types of mods. They won't say specifically what mods they won't be able to function with, but it's really important that you read through the descriptions and see everything that they've posted so far so that you can troubleshoot and, of course, again, interact with the community, talk with them, say what's going wrong, how you've installed it, what other mods you've installed with it. Just try and go through your troubleshooting phases and work with others to be able to fix any issues that you might have with the game. So essentially, this will install the exact same way as any other mod, and I'm not going to show it in the game because you've seen the videos most likely of the previous run-throughs of the game. If you want to see a demonstration of this voice, you can, but I will show you how you install it. And trust me, because the other mods worked, this one's going to work too. Just make sure you're using the correct voice lines on the correct English version of the game. If you're on Japanese or German or French or Italian, Voice 4 is just going to be their default language. So that is the key thing here when it comes to these audio mods. That's why I'm trying to stress it the most. So again, we'll go back into our setting here and we'll select Spec Ops voice lines, and let's go ahead and re-enable our SEAF Ranger and hit deploy, and we'll say okay, and hey, we're good to go. You may notice these drop-down menus, by the way, they don't seem to always function, but we'll get into that in just a moment, because now we're going to jump into probably the one that might confuse people the most. And this is a really popular mod here, is the Helljumpers Mobilize ODST replacers. This is a mod that I need to jump into. There's so many amazing Halo mods out there. Not only are there amazing audio sound effects, but the weapons have been replaced in high quality from the Master Chief Collection and brought over here. Like all these variants and versions of the armors, they all look fantastic. So of course people are going to want to download this one. So this is probably a big one for a lot of people, right? So big thing here, read the description, make sure you see, hey, okay, the B01 variant 1, the armor is not actually called variant 1, 2, 3, 4 in the game, but there is 4 pieces of armor in the game that are called B01. So keep this in mind. Another thing to point out is even if you choose to install, say, B01 variant 1, some of the armor pieces that are replaced, such as the undergarments, the like cloth pieces, can sometimes translate over to other armor pieces. So they aren't necessarily just exclusive to just that armor piece or that model, right? So you might notice that even though, hey, I just did B01 variant 1, why is variant 2, 3, and 4 also looking weird and wonky? That's why, because we are swapping models in the game. So kind of understand that you're kind of railroaded a bit when it comes to installing these mods. At the same time, it is also possible to install all of these mods if the mod author has enabled that possibility. For example, you could probably install all of these ODST mods all at once, and then it would probably look nice amongst all the variations and the, you know, the CE, FS, SC, etc. Experiments. But I want to just point out that this is not sometimes a set and forget or install and forget type scenario. This may affect multiple armor pieces visually for you, so it might look funny if someone else is wearing a very weird set that happens to have some of your replaced armor on it. Regardless, let's just go ahead. We'll download the first one. So the 0 here is every single mod. We don't need to do that. We're just going to example the rookie variant 1, B01 variant. We'll just download that and see how this goes. So we'll go ahead, we'll grab this. You can see we've installed the mod before, and we'll move on back into our downloads folder. Of course, I named it downloads to keep it confusing. I'll also get rid of the indicator saying that this was downloaded before. And you may notice if we dig into here, oh, actually, no, this wasn't downloaded before. This mod actually just has a 1 on it. I forgot about that. That's pretty funny. You may see here there is multiple options. So there is the body, which is its own patch 0, but then there's also the blue visor, which is a helmet that you can choose, or the gray visor, which is another helmet that you can use, right? So this is where we have these variations. So one thing I would actually like to do is, I haven't tested this part, so let's go ahead and do a live test, shall we? If I just select rookie, as you can see, it's just going to do everything all at once. So most likely this is going to install not only the body, but also the both helmets at the same time, which are replacing the exact same helmet. So we probably don't want that. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to take this, hit the X button to remove it from the list, and we're going to modify this zip file. So we're going to go ahead and make a new folder. Just for this example, you don't necessarily have to do this, but we're going to call this folder variants. And we're going to take our rookie variant 1, and we're just going to throw that whole file in there. Oh, of course, because our mod manager is currently utilizing it. So let's go ahead and we'll say purge. So we'll get rid of our mods for a sec. We'll close the mod manager. Let's see if we can move this over. There we go. Now we can move it over because it's not actively using the file. It was probably in the temporary folders, which is probably why it was an issue. So what we will do now is we will extract this folder here. We'll extract it to its brand new folder, as you can see. So this is the extracted version, excuse me. Brain's going haywire. And we're going to just select either blue visor or gray visor, so you can just delete one or the other. Another thing that you can do is you can separate these. So if you just want the body and neither of the heads, you can delete both of these, leave the body, or you can delete the body and one of the head pieces and rename the file entirely. So it's completely up to you. So what we're going to do, we're going to have the blue visor and the body. We'll see if this works. We will have to rezip the files, but we'll test this out. So let's go ahead and try it out. Let's go and compress back to zip. This is all through Windows, just doing that. Very simple stuff. And we'll reopen our mod manager. We'll click on add, we'll go into our variants, and we'll select the brand new one that we made, which has the 2 on the end. I could have named it something different, of course. The names don't matter, so don't worry about that too much. And we'll just go ahead and hit deploy. And actually, I'm going to purge. I'm going to get rid of the SEAF Ranger just to make sure that there's no conflicts there, and then I'll redeploy, and we'll hit run. So let's see if this works, and go for it. And you see the kind of troubleshooting steps that I'm taking to kind of see, hey, will this work? Well, if this doesn't work, I have another game plan to go with before even jumping into the posts and talking to the mod author and being like, hey, this is not working. I dumped your whole file into the mod manager that you probably didn't know about. Like, again, understand it's up to us to really fix these issues. If we're just installing mods to the mod manager, it's not up to the mod authors to make sure their mod works with the mod manager. These are things that they do in their free time, their spare time. We're lucky enough that they even made these mods to begin with. So be respectful, be kind. That's the most important thing you can do when it comes to modding your games. This is something that I have experience with games like Skyrim. So you just be respectful and be polite. So we've changed variant 1. So we'll see if that worked, if the body has changed. I'm going to assume that no, it did not change. So we now know that that doesn't work. That's great. This is how we troubleshoot. And we'll just see if our helmet has changed. And it looks like the helmet didn't change either, which is actually really interesting. So let's just double check. We'll make sure, we'll click on B01. Equip that. There we go. As you can see, all these B0s are all the same. We'll equip that, and then we know that the helmet should also be changed as well. So I have a fix for this. Do not worry. I was just curious to see if that would even work. So let's go ahead and do it my way, which is to just make them individual mods, which is usually a lot easier. All right, so let's go ahead. Purge. Get rid of Rookie for now. And I'll show you how we can get this installed. So we'll go into downloads here, go into our variants, and let's make 2 new folders. We're just going to call this one Rookie Helm 1, and we're going to make another one, and we're going to call it Rookie Body 1. Okay? So we'll open up our old, what is it? Okay, there it is. I'm not going too crazy yet, am I? Okay, so obviously we want the visor and obviously we want the body. So all we're going to do is we're going to copy the body, go back to variants, put this in here. Perfect. And then we're going to zip that up. Compress that to zip file. Perfect. All right, and then we're going to go right back in there. We're going to go to visor. We're going to go to copy, go back to variants, and we're going to go into the helmet. Perfect. Go back to variants, and we're simply going to compress and zip this file. And there you go. So now we have rookie, body 1, and helm 1. Okay, so let's go back into our mod manager. We're going to add these. And we're going to do rookie, body 1. And we're going to do rookie, helm 1. And we'll deploy all of these mods and run the game. And hopefully, like magic, we've fixed and troubleshooted the issue ourselves because we looked at the files inside of the mod. We saw that, hey, this has multiple variants in it, and the mod manager got a little confused. It's like, I don't see anything in there, man. I'm just not going to install them. So we fixed this. Hopefully, we are already wearing the gear, I think. So it should just work. This is variant 1, B01 variant 1. So it should just be the default starting armor. And we'll see if this works. Dun, dun, dun. And there you go. Just like that. So as you saw, that is one of the key elements there when it comes to working with a mod manager, and just double check the files. Hey, where are the patch files? Those are the most important things. And as you saw, I kind of reduced how many folders there were as well. And I separated them out. I renamed the folders. And you can get really fancy with it. You can be very detailed in how you actually mod the game and how you name your files and get everything working nicely with one another. You can see I still have the Diligence. It's still modded on my hip. Fantastic. All right, so last thing, because I'm sure people are going to be wondering, how do you get rid of the capes? It's fairly simple. All you need to do is get the hide capes mod. There's multiple mods, so they might be all changing. And we don't install this mod with the mod manager, so keep that in mind. ReShade mods, you just throw them straight into your directory, your bin directory. So I'll kind of give a demonstration of this. If we go, this is actually outside of the scope of what I was going to teach, but it's fine. So what we can do is, for example's sake, let's say hide capes. There we go. We found hide all capes. This is just one of the mods that exists. This one was released in August. There might be newer ones. I think there's now like a screenshot one or a photo mode one, but this is like the basic one right here. And this one, we're going to go into files and we're going to manually download it. All right. And let's just open up the zip folder here. So you see these files here. We're just going to take all of those files. As you can see, there's ReShade shaders, dxgi.dll, shader toggler add-on 64, and shader toggler.ini. Read the descriptions for hotkeys on how to use this. The hotkey that I'm familiar with that has been used is F3. Other mods might allow hiding the entire HUD or changing the visuals of the game. ReShade is a very powerful tool, so I highly recommend you learn how to utilize it and look into it. But regardless, in order to install this, all you have to go and do is browse your local files for Helldivers 2. And you're simply going to go into the bin directory. And you'll see I've already pasted in my ReShade. So I literally just took that mod and I threw it in here. You'll see that there's ReShade-shaders and that ReShade ini and the other shader items. That's how you install it. That's it. You just take the items that I had. Excuse me there. You take these, throw them in, and you're good. Click and drag. It'll automatically unzip for you. You don't even have to click extract all. It'll just nicely copy paste them over and throw them in, and it should work. Knock on wood. Again, mileage may vary. Some computers don't like ReShade. It might make your game run a lot worse, by the way, because ReShade has a lot of issues with video games. So keep in mind, it's not going to be flawless for everyone. For me, I have a fairly beefy PC. Strange flex, bro. But again, it's just that allows me to utilize these mods. Regardless, that was a fairly long-winded tutorial, guide, whatever you want to call it. I really hope this has helped someone out there be able to mod the game. Modding is one of the most fun things to do. I pretty much mod every video game I possibly can to change the experience and just add a little bit of flavor to it. So if you have any questions, hopefully I can answer them. But again, go to those forums, go talk to those people, the mod authors, give them kudos, endorse their mods, be a positive beacon in the modding community, and support your fellow Helldivers. All right, guys, I'm going to go drink some water. I am just the worst right now. All right, bye. Anyway, see ya.